Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Outskirts Overland. This week is finally the week I'm going to review my stuff. So, before we get started, first things first, got to let you guys know if you're looking to try Onyx Off-Road, please use my code. It'll save you 20% off. I got it running on the bottom. It is Global Overland 236. It'll save you 20% off on Onyx Off-Road. Couple new people that I got all the codes now. You can go to Toyota Overlanders and use the code Charlie10 at checkout. Get 10% off Toyota Overlanders. You can go to WeBoost and use Outskirts5 to get 5% off of WeBoost products. Yeah, that happened. And excuse me. And Marvin's messing with me here, guys. And I think that's all the discounts I got for now for you guys. WeBoost, Toyota Overlanders, and Onyx Off-Road. So anyways, guys, also, if you're in the Midwest and you are any type of Toyota enthusiast of any kind, go ahead and scope out Toyota Trucks of Arkansas. It's a great group. Lots of cool people. They are actually getting ready to go do a community cleanup. Like they're going to go out and clean up some trails. I've seen some of the footage. Sorry, I'm jacking my camera here, guys. I've seen some of the footage from what they're going to clean up. Looks like it needs cleaned up. So that'd be something cool to get behind. I think give me one sec here. I think the dates on that, if you are in the Arkansas area, Toyota Trucks of Arkansas, go on over there, join the group. I mean, let them know I sent you. They know who I am. They're just my friends over there. September 7th, they'll be doing a cleanup ride. And I don't know if it'll even translate, but I mean, let me see if I can get it. That's a lot of stuff, guys. Like, there's a lot of trash. So if you're watching it, I'm just scrolling through my phone, the pictures. It's like a considerable amount of trash. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. It's a considerable amount of trash, guys. This is the one that blows my mind. That's couches, guys. There's couches out in the Arkansas backcountry. What is that about? Anyway, September 7th, put that on your calendar. Go out and help. That's giving back to the national forest. I mean, it is a natural forest as well. But that'd be a great thing to do. So today I'm going to talk about a few products and reviews I've done. They're a little longer term reviews. The longest one I've got, and I'm going to address this because I said I would. I got some rough country shocks and struts. Now I have I do drive a Tacoma, so that no one there is surprised. I drive a Tacoma, so it has leaf springs in the rear, struts in the front. I got loaded struts and just shocks for loaded struts for the front, shocks for the rear. 3-inch lifted on the front, 2-inch extended in the rear. I have aftermarket upper control arms in the front. I got extended bump stops. In the rear, I have lift, not add a leaf. I got totally separate leaf springs that lift the truck and timber and bump stops, shackle flip kit, the whole 9 there. But I did change the shocks. They're lifted 3 inches in the front. They're a little extended in the rear. I'm going to talk about those first as the other two kind of go together. So I'm going to talk about the shocks first. Now, I was reaching out, and this is something I do, regardless of the podcast. The podcast does definitely help. But I was reaching out to companies about, looking at getting some shocks. And Rough Country was like, hey, we got these M1 shocks. I think they're somewhat new to the Rough Country line. They have a step up from that with like external reservoirs. They're the Vertex, whatever. And they've got external reservoirs and stuff. I got the M1s. They're quite a big step above what everyone knows Rough Country for. I am not paid by Rough Country or anything. I'm just telling you about my experience. I'm very familiar with the reputation that company has in the off-road space. I'm pretty sure like if your truck's lifted and it has 14-inch wide wheels and a custom offset sticker, like you probably have a rough country lift, like a standard rough country lift. I don't mean to say that to put anybody in a box, but that does just explain the demographic of individual that's typically buying a rough country lift. It lifts your truck, it lifts your truck. It is suspension, and it's relatively inexpensive. Now, given that it's inexpensive, I think is a positive. Like there's a lot of people get into this hobby and get into things and they're like, dude, everything's so expensive. So when the opportunity came to try these out, I was like, you know what? Like that might appeal to way more people than if I get, I don't know, MRRs from Dobinson. Like maybe Dobinson would be happy to work with me, but now I've got a $3,000 suspension. So, anyways, long story short, these shocks show up. They look pretty cool. Everybody says, made in China. I had Toy Tech before. I believe they're also made in China. I don't use that as a negative. Like, again, they are rough country. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion here. And I have somebody else already bought them. I got their review as well, based off my recommendation. So anyways, because they're affordable, they're really, really good for what they cost. Like very, very good for what they cost. So they're a digressive valve shock. They're zinc plated. They're not, they're made to be corrosion resistant. They're one piece. They're adjustable. So you can adjust them from, I think mine are like 1-inch lift to 3.5-inch lift. They got like little clip rings. I have mine set at 3. Because that's where I like to run my truck personally for what I do. So anyways, I'll bring them up on the screen here. And this is and you guys will see, this doesn't look like something you guys have seen from rough country before. And so I'm gonna bring them up on the screen. This is the rough country M1 strut right here. So as you'll see, they got a harder bushing down here at the bottom. They're one-piece design. They're zinc coated. They're digressive valved. I mean, I can go over like the stats on the sheet. Like I went down and I was looking at it. 2-inch. They're a 2-inch shock. They're not a 2.5. I actually had 2.5s before, and they performed worse, which actually surprised me quite a bit. They're 46 millimeter digressive piston, self-adjusting, independent rebound. Like this is and again, I'm listing stuff, and if you're not familiar with shocks, this is pretty standard stuff. They're monotube design, fade-free performance. I can tell you that I had these things. They actually don't. They do fade eventually, okay? But once I show you and you could probably see it up here in the top. Look at what they cost. I mean, it's $4.99. That's the pair, okay? Like that's the pair, $4.99. They do eventually fade, but not. I mean, I was giving them some work. Like I went out with my friend Johnny, and I mean, his tires needed rebalanced after our trip because we were just going so fast. Like I was really trying to give these a solid go. Like I was like, they make it, they fade, they break. We're going to find out. Like we went very hard. And these shocks got really worked. We were going over rocks, whoops, whatever. I mean, there's times I'm pretty sure my truck got off the ground just trying to really get it handled. Now, digressive valving, for those of you that don't know, is more like a 6112 Bilstein. Now, again, that might not mean jack squat to you guys. What's a 6112 Bilstein? It just means it's a stiffer ride in the short, and as you get into more compression, it softens up. So if you're heavier and stuff like that for like daily driving, like I don't have sway bars, so a digressive valve shock actually creates a lot of rigidity for my truck, given that the suspension really is my sway control. So I prefer a digressive valve shock. These are not soft by any means, but they're not hard either. Again, they're just digressive valved. I have had them on my truck for probably a couple thousand miles, at least 500 off-road, like actually off-road, forest service road, trails, Quite frankly, I've wrecked my truck trying to test these out, unfortunately, and it is still in the shop. But they have done me extremely well. They've got a lot of droop to them. They compress up really well. Um, they're coated so they don't rust. You know, that's a problem you got to look at with a lot of shocks. But for $499 for the pair, and these are lift struts, the whole thing comes together, and you can order them. Like I said, they are adjustable, quote unquote. You can't adjust them with a spanner like a lot of other ones. They have a pin, but as you'll see here, I'm scrolling down. You can get them in a 6-inch lift, 3.5, 3.5, 6-inch. You can get them in 2-inch. Here's the rears that I have. The same thing though, like they're still the M1s. They actually look really good. I think they look good myself. I've been, again, I know the reputation that currently exists with this brand. I think they're doing something great. You know, $169 for the pair of rear shocks. So you're looking at, I mean, less than $700 total, front and rear. That's pretty good. Again, it's not extremely affordable. Like you can get a puck lift for $160 or whatever. But quite frankly, you're going to do the same labor to put that in as to put these in. So I'll throw that out there. I've been really happy with them. Surprisingly enough, that one of my friends' buddies was due for new shocks on his Jeep. And he recommended them. He's like, hey, you know, Charlie got these Rough Country M1s. And this is a lifted Jeep that previously had different suspension components on it. And the guy bought them, and he's like, that's the best shock I've ever felt. I haven't ever tried, you know, like I don't want to put that claim out there because I haven't tried any, like, I've never tried like BP51 Old Man Emu or Kings or anything like that. What's up, man? So I don't know, like, I couldn't tell you if I think they're like the best of the best. And again, for the price point, I don't think they are. They have far exceeded my expectation for the price point they sit at. I will tell you that. And I mean, you guys won't understand how hard I was going on these things. Just see if they like fade or bend. I've bent a shock before, like, you know, and quite frankly, was it my stupidity or was the shock just not as tough as, you know, it said it was? These have done me phenomenal. The bushings aren't collapsing, which is actually really huge on a lifted Tacoma. The bushings on the shocks, when you lift them, the bottom eyelet bushings tend to, like, I don't know, mushroom, I guess would be the comment, the way I would explain it. They'll mushroom. These are not doing that. And my other ones did it by now. Like in the same amount of time, they would have done it already. So these are doing really good. I was fully prepared to tell you guys I'd already taken them off and done something else. They come with a 3-year warranty, and I fully expected if they don't last me 3 years, I'll get another set. For the price, they are so good, actually. They still come in cheaper than the Bilsteins, and I think they are right there. I think this shock. Now, do I think Rough Country and Bilstein as a suspension company are on an equal playing field? I don't know. Okay, like I'm not going to make that claim, but I can tell you that these M1 shocks far exceed their price point. I will 150% tell you that, and I think they're trying to get in the market with them at that price point, and I think they're an extremely affordable lift suspension with that works really, really well. I mean, I've used them much harder than you should probably be using essentially $250 a piece full struts. And they have just done phenomenal. Again, I cannot express how good they are. And I'm going to sound like ridiculous today because the 3 things that I'm reviewing today, I actually really enjoy all 3. Actually, I do have some negatives though. There are some drawbacks now, but not with these shocks. I cannot express how much I like these shocks. Seriously. So I again, just for the sake of discussion, I think if you're somebody looking for to get into an actual suspension from a puck lift, I everybody in the world is going to tell you don't look rough country. And prior to trying these or potentially these existing, I would have probably told you the same thing. I'd have been like, Bilstein 5100, 6112s is the way to go. If you've got money to burn, you know, you could absolutely go fancier icons, Old Man Emu, upper line, they're great. That's Old Man Emu's ARB. Like everybody's probably heard the name. I think they're great. And I would steer somebody that way. Those are still like twice as much money though. For what these cost, phenomenal. And I'd say not even for what they cost, for twice what they cost, you are not going to be disappointed at all. At all. I could easily say that I have literally had, you know, some shocks that were more that I paid for that weren't as good as these. And they're obviously, they maybe even are the same shock as other shocks rebranded, who knows? They work great though. I wouldn't be able to say, I can't say a negative thing about them. So the Rough Country, the M1s are great. And if somebody just commented right now, Boondock Haverlock, he has a Tacoma now, but he said he had M1 leveling struts on his Silverado. Same exact thing. Way better than he expected. Literally, I'll pop that comment right up here. You really think you're about to get like budget stuff, and this stuff is budget price, performs way better than budget stuff. I have been really blown away, and I hope I can be an advocate to some of you guys now, because Rough Country is known to be cheap, but cheap quality. These are cheap, and I don't think they're cheap quality. I really don't. So it's worth a look. It's worth a look, Again, I think the Overland Space, a lot of it comes with a, there's specific things that Overland people like to get, brands and such things. I'm really not a brand loyalist to much. Decked bed drawer systems for trucks, I am a huge, like I'm all deck system, and that's due to having two now in two different trucks, and they're great. Customer service is great. They ship fast, extra parts, fix them. They actually are waterproof when they say they are. They work great. Deck systems are the way to go, but I'm not here to review that. So anyways, M1 lift struts and M1 shocks, regular and extended. Great. I have been beyond happy with them. Like so happy with them. So the next thing that I got is I decided, so I'd been working for a long time on tires and wheels. And there's a lot of people out there. This is a huge thing, and I'll express it now. These companies don't know anything. I was working with tire companies before wheel companies. Some people seek out companies that do both. And I was interested in trying something different. So my truck has Kenda Cleaver RT tires, 10 plies, and KMC. What are they called? There's a specific name for them. It's like a special type of forging. They're a rotary forged wheel. So not fully forged, but rotary forged. And I'll show you guys those here in a second. But I got the KMC the Kenda Cleaver RTs. And I actually got them in a size larger than the wheels that I had on the truck when I got them. So like I had 16s on the truck with Falcon Wild Peaks, which were good. Which were good. They were good. I'm not going to say Falcon Wild Peaks aren't bad. They're probably the best of everything. Like if you want to have the best on snow with, comparable, like they're here. They're good at everything. They're not great at, they're probably great at snow. I would say they are great at snow. But they, and this is the Kenda Cleaver RT. They're, the Wild Peaks are good for a lot of reasons, for an all-terrain tire. But even so, there's a couple things I'll say about this. So it's not going to be all positive, okay? Like, these are louder for sure. Louder road noise. They have road noise. And again, they have a tread. These bad boys got a tread. Okay, there's some thick blocks on these suckers, okay? There's also really a lot of sidewall grip. These are definitely a more aggressive tire, and they sound like it. There's just no doubt about siping. I've had no issues with these on any wet road conditions. I have done, usually I'm somebody that takes mud bypasses. I've purposely not been doing that, and these clear pretty well. I've yet to get stuck with them. I am by no means going in like 3 foot deep mud, though. We're talking 1 foot deep, maybe. But they have done it, okay? And I do not think my Wild Peaks would have gotten me out of those situations. I don't think they would have cleared as well. These do pick up rocks, so you're going to sling some rocks with the Cleaver RT. That's all there is to it. But one thing I actually like a lot about the Cleaver RT is, at least in my size for my Tacoma, this tire in 10-ply with a 3-ply sidewall is lighter than the Falken Wild Peak AT3 or AT4 even. They're lighter. So that's a huge positive. Unsprung weight it makes a big difference when you have a heavy vehicle for throttle response, control, gas mileage. Not that I'm really paying a whole lot of attention to gas mileage in my truck, but they are lighter. They are lighter even as a 10-ply, they call them rugged terrain. They're hybrid tire. They're way more of a mud tire. So it was just asked what size I go with. I got a 285 70 17. So they are a 285 70 17. I could have fit a 285 75 17 or a 295 70. I just went with what I felt like across most 33-inch tires that people, that's a large majority. So when dealing with brands, I don't want to be testing a tire that's 35, 37. My truck could fit 35s actually, but that's not necessarily, most 35s aren't 10-ply, and that's not relevant to your normal person that's probably listening to this. Like 33 is pretty relevant. 17-inch wheels are pretty common. So I had 16s on my truck because that's what the Tacoma comes with. I have 17s on it now with these tires and a 285 70 17. And that's what I went with. And so I could give an honest review for everybody that has, a Lexus or a Land Cruiser or a 4Runner. Like, this is the 33-inch tire size for you. This is what all those people are going to. So I could give an honest review on that tire in that size that a lot of people will run. And a lot of people do run that size in a variety of tires. So it is loud. It is loud. It does pick up rocks. It extracts mud. Like it gets rid of mud really well. It did really good on rocks. The sidewalls, I have smoked the sidewalls, which I'll get into when I talk about the wheels, because the wheels aren't as good looking as they were when I put them on. But that's whatever. So smoked the sidewalls, and they're not showing any wear from that. I'm fine. I put, they're a 50,000 mile tire, maybe 50,000 mile tire. I've had them on my truck for, I don't know, 3,000 miles probably. I'm not showing any signs of like chunking or anything like that, but I think it's too early to even give. I think it's too early to say if that will or won't happen. So this will be ongoing because they're definitely on my truck. And just because I got a set of tires doesn't mean I'm going to get a new set all the time. Like I see this as probably a one and done. So that's just what it is, which is still awesome. Like, by no means. They are, as far as affordable, there's a lot of sizes of this tire and they do cost different. So I'll scroll down, but they actually make this tire in and you'll see me here, a lot of sizes. This is a tire they make in a lot of sizes. So there's a size for you in the Kenda Cleaver. It's considered an all season. It's a rugged, but it's got, they've done well for me. They are loud, but they do great on water. I've had rugged, like hybrid / mud terrains before that were really like almost dangerous in wet conditions and not great in dry conditions. Like under braking and stuff, these are great. Cornering, these are great. Like I don't notice a lot of tire limitations on road. Just they're a little louder. Off-road, they do really, really well. I've been very happy with them for not being a legitimate mud terrain. I think they perform as well as a legitimate mud terrain, and they have a harder tread. So a lot of mud terrains are a softer compound just because that's how mud terrains are typically. These are much harder. They have done me really, really well in slick conditions, wet rocks even, water crossings. Like they've done really well. I would say they do they do at least 30% better, I would say, if I was to put a statistic to it, than the Wild Peaks off-road. And I'd say they're probably 10% louder. Like they're not way loud. They're not, like I don't know, like they're not like a true mud terrain loud. They're not wah, 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 but you can hear them. They don't vibrate through the steering wheel, so that's good. They balanced well. So yeah, positives and negatives, but that's just the type of tire it is. Like you're going to have the negatives I'm explaining. I will, again, it'll be ongoing. Do they have any chunking issues? Do they wear, I'm rotating them. I've already rotated them once. Do they have any issues with wear? Do they have any issues under hard braking? Do they have any issues from running them aired down for a long period of time? A lot of mud terrains wear quick, much quicker when you run them aired down. And you don't want to go run like a trip on the street aired down. I mean, off-roading aired down. They're not any louder than they're not too stiff of a sidewall for being a 3-ply. I had Mickey Thompson's previously. They're pretty stiff. Still did fine. I would say these perform better so again, these aren't an AT, they're an RT, but I had Baja Boss ATs, and I think these perform better than that tire. This tire does, but again, they're not direct competitors, but I can't have tried every tire, guys. So it's close enough because the Baja Boss AT is definitely more aggressive than the Wild Peak AT. And I had Baja Boss MTs, and they're just a whole nother world than these. And I don't have, they're not a comparison to these. That's a mud tire. Big treads, loud, very loud, heavy, like all of the above. So that's just what that is. But they're great. I think they're great. They're definitely a hybrid tire. Again, really good in mud for a tire that also does good on road and in water. And that is not something you're always going to get. And the fact that they're lighter, I really like that. That's just I like it for peace of mind. Have I noticed it? Like, no, I have not. But I also did get wheels that are like half the weight of my previous wheels. So, you notice the wheel and tire combination weighing less when you're rotating them, taking them off to do any work or stuff. But I'd say the majority of that's in the wheel, to be completely honest. But they are 4 pounds, I think, 4 or 5 pounds a piece lighter than those ATs with similar, specs. They're load rated G, LT, 3-ply sidewall, like things I said. So I've been happy with them. Yeah, I for what I do more of, like off-road stuff, I think this is if you daily your vehicle and you do a lot of miles daily, like say you do, I don't know, 60 to 100 miles a day, I couldn't tell you if this is the best bet for that. Like say you drive, I don't know, 20, 30,000 miles a year and 5 of it's off-road. I don't know that would warrant this tire being on your vehicle. That's where I think is a good case for the Falken. if it's more of a daily driver, but you need that capability sometimes. My truck probably does, I mean, it does quite a bit. It's probably like 30, 70, just because I got to drive where I'm going. But that's still, and I'm putting 30, 40,000 miles on it a year. So still a considerable amount off road. So the off road capability does matter a lot. These have great grip. I even had them in the sand and like really loose, like, what am I trying to say? Like bank gravel. No problem. None. Zero problems. I have dug in with all terrains doing that, and they get packed, and that sucks. So they've been good. But as expected, I know that Falken makes a RT. I know that Toyo makes one. The Falken RT is actually, I believe, the heaviest RT. And again, I'm reviewing what I got. This is, I'll be clear with you guys. If it wasn't the way it is, I don't know what I would have bought. To be completely honest, this tire was on my radar, but so were others, but I have been very happy with this tire. Now on to the wheels that I got. So I got the KMC 729 wheels. Now these are new. Okay. So this is one of the situations where I did not pick these. This is I got to pick the color, but this was picked for me. These are a specific offset. I got a -10 offset there. I mean, I think that even on this ad for them, this is KMC site. Yeah, they're on a Raptor. Like they are 100% for like your Raptor, Tundra, Tacoma. You'll see they got them in a lot of sizes, and you'll see the bolt patterns, but not actually a lot of bolt patterns on this wheel. Like this is it. Like you guys will see, it's only 17-inch. So this is a very, very new wheel. Very new. I got them in matte black here, like these here. They are very nice looking. They're a 9-inch wide wheel, -10 offset. These allowed me to get rid of the wheel spacers. On my stock wheels, I had wheel spacers, Spider-Trek wheel spacers, which were fine, but not my favorite. Okay. These are a huge step in the right direction as far as wheels are concerned. They're much lighter and they look really good. They look really good for not, but not flashy. Okay. Like now, I had the opportunity of when I got my wheels, I got 4 wheel boxes and 3 of them were the matte black and one of them was this machined. So although that's not what I wanted and notified them and got my, shipped that one back and got my 4th black one, I was able to see the machined one and they look, I mean, in the right application, not for my truck, but in the right application, super good looking wheel. And I believe that's what's on this. Yeah, that's what's on this Raptor here in the ad. For the right truck, that'd be a great looking wheel. But I think these are more geared toward your Toyotas, honestly, really honestly. Toyotas, Raptors, like specific vehicles based on looking at the specs of them. So they are phenomenal. They've got a big lip on them here that kind of protects your tire, but the lip doesn't impede on the valve stem. So when you're going to air up and air down, it's not a huge pain in the butt like some other wheels are. I sought this brand out though. This is the one, guys. Like I did not reach out to everybody under the sun for wheels. I was pretty dead set on figuring something out with KMC. The reason is when I was I had a Subaru STI, WRX STI, relatively new one. And I worked with Method with that car. I raced that car. And I worked with Method and General Tire. Well, they were really good to me. And I moved on to get a truck, a full-size truck. And both those brands, worked with me there. I had Method bead grip wheels on my truck and General ATX tires on my truck as well. That partnership continued. So I've had methods on cars, methods on trucks. I've gotten a lot of people into methods as far as wheels are concerned. So I was actually I could tell everybody now, method's a great wheel, bead grip's a great technology, but I was interested in something different, and I really like the styling of KMCs. Um, and it for me it was just more. It was just more, and this is what the wheel looks like on a bigger spectrum. But for me, it was more like I want to go with just something different. Like I'd done methods three times, different wheel types. I had like some rally style wheels on it for the street. I had some actual bead grip wheels on that car for the track. I drag raced that car. So the bead grip was actually super beneficial because you air those down as well. Again, super cool. A lot of people work with method, and that's great. I don't mind that, but I really wanted to work with KMC. That's all there is to it. Rhyme or reason, couldn't tell you. I like these wheels. They have a lot of wheels I like. This is not the one that I didn't go to them and like, I want these. They were like, what color are you want in these? Because these are what's newest. I like them a lot though. Still, they're great looking. This lip is super nice. Now, the one thing I will tell you is I got black ones, and from now gouging the living shit out of them, I could tell you they all probably start out as this wheel, because that's what it looks like under my black ones where I've scratched them. But the coatings come off a little, and again, I'm off roading this thing. We're not talking about going through somebody's yard, like it's been against rocks and things. The black has come off of them a little bit, but it's not gouged the wheel. So I could care less about that. That's fine. My stock wheels are all kinds of mess up too. Like the color coating on them though. If you off-road a lot and you want them to not be shiny through, get them machined. I got the black, and I'm sure the gray and the blue, same thing. If you were to scratch them, they're going to show through in this bright machined color. I think that's just I think that's just how they are. But they are flow forged, and that's some type of or they're flow formed, rotary forged. Now, I wish I could explain that, but it does have a bead retention system on them too. You'll see here. It's different than bead grip, but I've aired them down super far. I've actually never even had a problem with my stock rims. So I think this bead retention is great. I think bead grip's great, but also I've never been in a situation with a stock rim where they're popping beads or anything. And I go down to 10 PSI, probably at the lowest. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on with that. Why that's so popular of a thing right now. But they've been good. They look sick. I prefer the look of these over methods myself, and KMC in general. I mean, they just got a ton of good looking wheels. So I've been happy with them. They do scratch. It's not matte underneath, so you do see some brighter metal color underneath. So if you're somebody that wants to hide your scratches a little more, have some flat black paint or blue or gray, because if you're off-roading it, they do scratch and it's going to show. That's just all there is to it. They don't weigh nothing. They're one piece. They're super light. I've been happy. Again, I'm going more for looks. Just try something different out. I think Icon wheels are great. Off-road wheels as well. Icon's a really good brand. I think Method's a good brand too. Just they all kind of look the same. Method's a little bit, which Method, I love you guys. You guys did me a solid numerous times. If you guys were to go look through their page, you'll see my last two vehicles on their social media a ways back, but they're both there. So I mean, they're a great company. Just in this off-road space, I think they're a little bigger than me these days. They're quite a bit bigger than me these days. But they sponsored Subaru Rally, USA and stuff. So the Subaru was appealing. And then kind of when I got a truck, they were kind of getting into off-road. And Baja and stuff. So, I mean, I think I was just the right place, the right time with them, honestly. KMC, they've been around forever and ever and ever and ever. So, but I guess I can click off-road here. They've got a ton of wheels, guys. Like, these are just different styles. And again, you can see you can get them all in different colors. But dude, like, this is what that's the wheel I really wanted that I would have loved to have. Um, but that's whatever. And those are impact forged. Mine are that I got a rotary forged. But these are all, and some of them are pretty affordable if you look, but they just got a lot of variety. Like, I really like a quality wheel brand with a lot of variety, guys. Like, these are all your off-road ones. These actually are pretty cool in black. Those guys, I like those too. Those are super cool and they're affordable. But like, yeah, these are sick, man. They got a lot of really good looking wheels. These are on some other popular YouTubers stuff. You guys will know who that is by looking at them. But they do sponsor some other social media people, and they have these wheels. And they're kind of a big deal. So if you recognize those, you'll know who I'm talking about. And those are a true deal there. They got adventure wheels though too. You know, these will work on a truck as well, just fine. There's my range 729 right there, and that they are right there at that 267 a wheel. So it's middle of the road, but they got just a lot of variety, good looking wheels. So I'm thrilled to have gotten a set of wheels from them. They're a phenomenal company. I followed them for a long time, and I did not try to have anything else. So then KMC wheels. So I would just leave that where it's at. You guys heard me talk about getting shocks. I got what I got. Tires, I got what I got. They were on my radar. Well, shocks were not on my radar. Tires were. The wheels were. There was one option. You know, I was working with them or I was buying them. That's all there was to it. I wanted to work with KMC. So that's all there is to that. So anyways, that's my reviews on those things. So again, Method has the market pretty well. I think there's a lot of like brands of wheels that are like no name brands that are knocking off other, designs. You can get KMCs affordably for sure. I mean, for sure, 180, I think, to $220 a wheel. That's pretty good for a good quality, wheel. These Kenda tires, I would love to tell you guys what they cost, but tires. Okay, so Kenda doesn't tell you what they cost because when it comes to tires, you can't buy the tires from Kenda. You have to go to a Kenda authorized dealer, and they are all over the place what these tires cost, from size or even just distributor. So I'm assuming some distributors get a larger discount than others if they sell more of them, per se. So check them out though. Yeah, so check them out. The Kenda tires are all over the place, but you will find deals on them, like any other tire brand. They have an AT as well. They make a Cleaver AT. I've had ATs, so I decided to go with the RT because that's a segment that I'm not real familiar with. I've had MTs and I've had ATs, so there's no magic to what I'm doing here. Like, let's try something different. So yeah, but the wheels are sick. And if you see my truck here, that's the wheels and tires on it. Look great. That's a -10 offset. There's no spacers to that, and that's the tires. And I think it's got a little bolt. It looks phenomenal. I think it looks really good. I am a big function guy, and in a function world, 17s, I could fit 16s. Functionally, that would make more sense. But again, when you're working with brands, 16s aren't as common. And if you're going to be doing reviews on stuff, you want the more common stuff. So welcome to how that life works for any of you that want to know. WeBoost. I'd previously talked about, tech nomadism and connectivity and stuff. I got a discount code for WeBoost for 5% off, and it's Outskirts5. I am working with them to get some stuff out to you guys. I'll test it just like this, though. Like, I've had these things on my truck for a long time. I've mentioned that they exist. I haven't really went over them. It will be exactly the same. I'm not going to go out twice and this thing either works poorly or great. and tell you guys one way or the other. I'm going to use it many, many times, and I'm going to tell you, like, in this type of terrain, it did better than, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to provide a biased idea of how this thing works without giving it a good test. You know, I will test it. I'll tell you where it doesn't work. I will find where it does not work. I'll find instances where it works better than advertised and instances where it doesn't work as advertised. And I'll just give you guys my experience with that. You know, I don't know a lot about cell towers, but I think that's how it operates. But I am intrigued with WeBoost. The more I have gotten into looking, because it's a product you buy once. So you don't have to buy a product that costs a lot and then a subscription that costs a lot on top of something that uses a lot of power. So I want it to work really well. I will come into it telling you guys I want the WeBoost to work really well. Because if it does, it's going to be more savings than Starlink. I am positive Starlink works well. But from everyone I look at on social media, the Starlink, you got to get a new mount for it. You got to get a flat mount for it. You got to mount it somewhere. Like, it does come with some, you know, if you get it out and stick it somewhere, like people stick it on a pole on stuff, like a WeBoost is kind of more like a flat mount. Like they've got a whip with the WeBoost to where it like will flip up or flip down for more coverage. So you can get to camp and flip it up and it won't mess with any of your off-roading, but it's kind of always there. You're not getting it out and putting it away. Like, it's a fixed system. I really want it to work well, but if it doesn't, I'll let you guys know. If you're interested in looking at it or you're interested in anything they have, again, Outskirts 5, it'll save you 5%. It helps me out, helps you out. That's the only brand where it helps me out. You go buy wheels, tires, shocks, none of that helps me. I'm just bringing you the information. Got some product, moving on. WeBoost appreciated me enough. So that does actually help me out from them. You know, Onyx Off-Road, I'm just a discount for you guys. You guys just save money. Onyx is just, Onyx is kind of like Method for me. Something I've used for a long, long time. General Tire as well. Used a lot of them. They work fine. I don't know. I like these Kendas better than my Generals, either set that I had, honestly. So I would just leave that at that. Even though X Overland is sponsored by General and they do the X3s, I think is what they have. And it's like this cleaver. Probably is a great tire. I've never tried the X3 actually, so don't know. But I like these better than my ATXs that were on my full size. They're far better tire. So that's the reviews of the things I have right now. So a couple other things, like I said, I'll be doing a review on the WeBoost at some point. And I have a new rooftop tent. You will see it in the back. It's a 23-0 Kabari Light. I have spent, I don't know, considerable amount of nights in it. I just thought suspension, wheels, and tires were a review to be combined. You know, even though they kind of didn't, the wheels and tires went on at the same time naturally. The suspension was on previous, but I thought they were worth putting together. I'll talk about the tent another time. But I will be doing a review of the tent. I actually have been messaged most about doing a review of the tent. Evidently, it's not a very popular tent, maybe not popular to see online. I don't know. But I'll review it. That's a review for you guys that have listened to me talk about rooftop tents before and all the amazing things I said about Overland Vehicle Systems, OVS. I've had 3 of their rooftop tents, and I do think they're great, but it will be worth listening to me review this tent and just the way I talk about it. There's just some takeaways for sure. So anyways, before I get out of here, my friend Johnny, which you guys have heard about a lot. Okay. So this is like, the reviews are done. Make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is you do. Continue, follow the podcast. But for those of you guys that hear about Johnny, Johnny is a friend of mine, and Johnny is like, no matter what's going on, I can tell Johnny I'm going out and he'll come. Like, Johnny's with me. I wreck the side of my truck. Johnny goes down the trail, eats a freaking taillight. Like, we're like, 100%. He knew it was bad. It just kept doing it with me. He's with me. He'll go with me. He's pretty game. Okay. This is going a whole different direction than you guys will believe. Johnny texts me today. This is just a piece of comedy. It says something along the lines of, you want to run a marathon? And I was like, do what? In April? And I was like, what are we talking? Like, he sends me a link to this marathon. Now I'll be clear with you guys. I'm 5'8". Johnny's probably 5'8". We both definitely weigh more than 200 pounds. He is not a runner. Johnny's not a track star. I definitely have nothing to do with this. I wouldn't say either of us are out of shape by any means, but not that shape. So I'll preface with that. So it's not like he's a runner and is asking me to partake in his hobby. He's not a runner. He's not a runner. We both hike. We both off-road. We're both outside. Like, we're outdoors people. But anyways, long story short, he sends me this thing and I go, oh, okay. Marathon. He says marathon, right? So I'm like, oh, they got a half. They got a marathon relay. I'm like, so what are we looking at here, Johnny? He's like, the full thing. And I'm like, relay? No, 26 miles. So given that, and I mean, there's a reason Johnny asked me. This is how we operate. He's always down when I ask. I'm always down when he asks. So he asked, and I was like, hey man, if you're wild enough to do it, I'm wild enough to join you. So I guess me and Johnny are going to be crawling, walking, running. I don't know. It's in April, so I got time to train. I mean, I'll give it a shot. Boondock here, he said power walk it. I don't think me or Johnny intends to. That's not going to be our strategy. That might not be how it doesn't end up. But I think we'll both try to run it, jog it, trot it, whatever. I think we'll train. So be ready to hear about that journey. But that just goes back. The reason I even bring that up is not like, oh, listen to what I'm doing. But I've said it multiple times in the last few days. Like, good friends are hard to come by. So, like, be a friend. Like, he asked me if I wanted to do it. That's not something that he was just like, I mean, partially he knows that I would do it. Even though I gave him a lot of crap about whether I would do it or not, the moment he asked, he knew I was like in. I would do it with him. So, but that's good friends. Good friends are hard to come by. So, like, I've said it last week, like where I talked about the community. I didn't know Johnny from anybody before I met him through another friend that I met at an Overland Expo. So I met somebody in an Overland Expo that met Johnny, that introduced me to Johnny. And now me and Johnny have been camping, I don't know, 10 times, and we're running a marathon together through overlanding. So it's still relevant. But again, when you meet good friends are hard to come by. So, like, I always keep that in the back of my mind. Like, even if this thing takes me 6 hours, it's 6 hours one day. It's probably a lifelong friendship. Do cool stuff with your friends, guys. The community is phenomenal. Again, good friends are extremely difficult to come by. My leg's hurting for a week. Like, again, whatever. Like, in the grand scheme of things, is it going to suck? I mean, it should. If it doesn't, I'm not trying hard enough. So it should suck, I would say. But I guess me and him are doing that thing. So you guys will hear about that when that comes around. But he sent me a text. He's like, how awesome will that be? You do a podcast, run marathons, and drive your truck on mountains. So he's got some type of this is obviously something he's been thinking about. I got asked not 2-3 hours ago. And I was like, you know what, whatever. Yeah, I'm free that weekend. Already checked. Yeah, I'll run this thing with you, or walk it, or carry each other. Maybe I push him in a stroller for half of it, and he pushes me. I don't know how it's going to go, but we're going to do that thing. So be ready for the comedy that comes with that, because I'm sure that text thread between me and him is going to be kind of funny, because I don't even know what I'm getting into. I never run. I was in the Marine Corps. I've ran a lot, but not 26 straight miles. I've hiked 26 miles or rucked 26 miles, but I was also 22. I'm 37, 36, 37. It was a long time ago. And quite a few pounds ago, and quite a bit of cartilage ago. So I'm not even going to act like it's the same thing. So anyways, just back to the community piece. Like, that's a fun thing about the community. We're going to do a totally unrelated activity together, but this is how we met, is overlanding. And it's great. and I go with him a lot. We kind of just, we do stuff together. So this will just be another thing. If any of you guys want to run a freaking marathon, April 12th in Fayetteville, Arkansas, we're running a marathon. Let's get a little closer before I say what we're doing a marathon. I'm not going to say we're running shit. We'll figure that out when we get closer. It's not like I could do that right now, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Don't make false promises. So anyways, guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions or comments on any of the products I reviewed, if you want any links, like, again, I have them here. Like, I'm just on KMC Wheel, Rough Country Suspension, Kenda Tires. I am not on anything special. I don't have some special link. Don't have no discounts, nothing like that. Just bringing stuff to your guys' attention that I'm trying, that I've got. I would highly recommend giving the Rough Country Suspension a look. As I'm sure most of you would think, the tires are fine and the wheels are nice. The suspension's really the surprise product of everything I've gotten. Like, I'm very... it just surprised. I can't believe it's as good as it is, to be completely honest with you guys. So, I mean, don't sleep on it. Like, give it a shot, maybe, if you're in the market. Like, it's not a bad shot to take, is all I'm telling you. And my truck is heavy, like 5,800 pounds heavy. Steel bumpers and like, that's not aluminum. Steel bumpers. So I can't imagine it being. They're good. Again, they're good. Like, the stamp of approval on those. So anyways, I will catch you guys next week. I'm having some issues getting my truck fixed. Part shortage. So we'll talk about that. Maybe. I might have it situated by next week. And then I've got whenever my truck's done, I have a super exciting thing that I got. I bought it. But it's like really freaking cool. So I cannot wait to share that with you guys. You might have to wait. Hopefully my truck's done by Big Iron. I'll be at Big Iron no matter what, whether it's in my truck or a different vehicle. Maybe not an overland vehicle, but my fridge will fit in whatever, and I can sleep wherever. I'm not about it when it's just my truck. If I'm in a car, even a rental, like, I will be at Big Iron. I'll be camping. I might be in a tent on the ground. I'm not against putting a tent on top of a rental car either, if it's got, bars. So anyways, I'll be there no matter what. I'm not about it just if I got this cool truck. So you'll see me there no matter what. Rendezvous, on the other hand, if my truck isn't done, I wasn't going to go to Rendezvous for the 3 days. If my truck's not done, I probably will actually go to Rendezvous for the 3 days, because I won't be off-roading. Like, I'm not going to off-road, a rental. I don't know. I'm having some troubles. They're having some issues getting some of the stuff from my truck. It's not available right now. So we'll see what comes of that. But I'll be at Big Iron, period. So you guys can see me there. I don't need to be in my truck to be there. I could be on a bicycle, really. And maybe that's what you will see me on. Who knows? So I'll see you guys next week. I will be going over, like, I talked about insurance. So I talked about getting, claims done and stuff, but part shortage, man, it's a big problem for me at the moment. Real big problem for me at the moment, but it's not insurance's fault. It's not body shop's fault. It's really my fault for wrecking the truck. So anyways, I'll get into that next week. You guys have a great rest of your week. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will talk /